AI and machine learning. It has truly changed the way that retailers can communicate with their customers. What AI allows you to do is really get to one-to-one personalization at scale. You know, it's tough when you use the term AI and agentic commerce and all of these terms. You're really not talking 5 to 10 years. You're talking maybe 5 to 10 months because things are changing so quickly. I think understanding the whole, as much of the and comprehensiveness of the business as possible will help any leadership position.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesdays with Trailblazers, brought to you by TechEdgeAI, the video podcast where we bring you the latest trends and insights in AI and technology. I'm your host, Sadesh, and today we have with us Jeff Baskin, Global Chief Revenue Officer at Eagle Eye. Jeff is an accomplished C-suite executive with a proven track record in the origination and management of strategic partnerships with multi-million-dollar revenue outcomes. So without further ado, let's welcome Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Sid. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, we're quite excited to see what wonderful insights you have for us, Jeff.
Great, thanks. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the show and the pod, so look forward to chatting with you.
Great. So first things first, Jeff, I'm sure our audience out there would love to know about your career trajectory, what paved the way for you to become a CRO. And also, I believe there's a bit of confusion around the term CRO and what exactly the job description entails. So I'd love for you to shed some light on it as well.
Yeah, so I had the luxury of kind of growing up through my career, kind of during the internet boom in the very early 2000s, and was with several early stage companies and startups, and kind of got hung up in that segment of the industry at that point. Had the opportunity to be a part of a startup, go through an IPO, and then sell that company to Walmart 14 years later. So it was quite a roller coaster ride, and learned quite a bit. I like to say I got my MBA during that time. I saw just about everything you could possibly see. But I've been in retail technology for about 25 years or so, in all aspects of it, always on this side, but working with grocers, specialty retail, restaurants, convenience store retail, and most of that being internationally. So heavy focus on the U.S., Canada, North America, and then but also internationally as well. So that has led me to Eagle Eye, where I have now been here for just about a year, managing, as you mentioned, the global CRO duties. And to answer your question on as far as a chief revenue officer, a lot of people think that that's just a fancier term for sales, but it's quite a bit more than that. At least at Eagle Eye and other companies that I know of, it is absolutely driving growth for the company, but it's also sustaining growth for the company. So sales, customer success, ensuring long-term relationships, long-term growth. So sales, customer success, but also solution engineering and innovation, figuring out what we need to do to our solutions in order to grow with our partners. And that's the other thing. My philosophy personally and our company's philosophy is building partnerships. When you build a vendor-customer relationship, that's exactly what you're building. And it's very easy to get rid of a vendor or vice versa. But when you have a true strategic partnership and you take a consultative approach, that's a lot tougher to get rid of. And so what we're trying to do is building long-term growth, which is good for our revenue and our investors, but also good for our partners who most people would call their customers. So in addition to solution engineering, we're working with products. We are working with all of the marketing and what I call flooding the market with our brand. So it's a lot more than sales. It's a lot of innovation, mainly because the people that are on the revenue team are the ones that are dealing with our partners the most. So they're on the field looking at innovation on a daily basis, hearing from our partners, and then feeding that information back to the rest of the business so that we can then innovate and move things forward fast.
Great to know that. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of clarity around the term today after what you've said, right? So what's your tip for the budding managers and directors out there who aspire to be CROs?
Do everything. No, I mean, and meaning do every job possible. When people get tunnel vision and say, I'm just going to do sales, that's what I want to do. But if you look at some of the great leaders out there of businesses in general, they've done customer service, they've done sales, they've done customer success, they've tried to do solution engineering. It's not for everybody, right? Because solution engineering is typically the unicorn or the who someone that can actually talk to a customer, but that also has a technical background. But
True.
try and do everything, because the more that you can do, the more you understand those aspects of the business, and the more that you can then lead growth. If I know what someone in product is dealing with or customer service is dealing with, it can help me sell. It can help me grow a customer further and just be a better partner.
Makes sense. Safe to say you've got to be the jack of all trades.
Yeah, you don't have to, the jack of all trades, master of none, but you'd like to master at least maybe one or two. But yeah, I think understanding the whole as much of the and comprehensiveness of the business as possible will help any leadership position, but also gives you credibility with those people. If you've done it before, you get instant credibility, and that's always a good sign of a good leader.
Perfect. Now, Jeff, let's start with the big picture, right? So, what are the biggest inefficiencies in traditional promotional models today, and why are so many retailers still relying on broad, mass discount strategies?
Yeah, frankly, Sid, many retailers are just old school, and mass strategies take the least amount of effort, at least until now or until very recently. Many retailers still rely on mass discounting because they have retail infrastructure was built a long time ago. And a lot of retailers, it's not the fastest moving industry from an innovation standpoint. So they're kind of caught in a habit. And what technology has now allowed them to do is scale very, very fast. So when you find that, and when you find the right things to do, you can now look at going from what is mass, which is fairly easy, right? I can put a bunch of offers out there to anybody in promotions, but now I can really get really personalized to the customer. And that just creates a better customer experience, which is what we're all striving for. If I can build a better customer experience, all of the other KPIs that we're worried about will fall into line.
Got it. Got it. So, retailers have talked about one-to-one personalization for years, right? And why has true individualized promotion been so difficult to achieve in practice?
Yeah, so it all comes back to data, right? So the biggest barriers have been fragmented data and reliance on these legacy platforms and legacy POS systems, which are so hard to remove, or they're ingrained in the retailer's DNA. And so while retailers manage very large volumes of customer and transaction data, most of the traditional systems can't generate offers dynamically or deliver individualized promotions at scale. So as a result, retailers often rely on selecting from predefined offers or assigning promotions to broad customer segments, which limits relevance and reduces promotional efficiency.
Got it. Makes perfect sense. Now, I think something seems to be shifting now, right? What technological or operational changes are finally making personalized promotions possible at enterprise scale?
Yeah, so hopefully this isn't the cliche answer, but what we've seen is AI and machine learning. It has truly changed the way that retailers can communicate with their customers at scale. So I think there was a time when we went from mass marketing, which we just talked about, and then people called it personalization. But when you really dig down and you ask them the question, what they're really doing is putting people in buckets or segmentation and segmenting them and say, we're going to take this segment of people and we're going to put these offers to them. Well, that's kind of not personalized offers, but group offers, right? And so you're going to miss that quite a bit. What AI allows you to do is really get to one-to-one personalization at scale. And what that helps with is it really helps. Walmart and Target have armies of data scientists who are helping do this. And you have your regional grocers or convenience store change or mid-level kind of specialty retailers who don't have huge marketing teams, or again, those armies of data scientists. So if I don't have to create hundreds of offers and the AI can do that for me, it's much easier to level the playing field with some of the big retailers utilizing AI in order to create that true one-to-one personalization.
Interesting. Now, one of the toughest questions in retail, I believe, is impact, right? So, how can retailers tell whether a promotion is actually influencing customer behavior rather than just rewarding shoppers who would have purchased anyway?
Yeah, I think as I mentioned, I think creating that great customer experience is truly the main thing that you need to focus on. And I compare it, could you compare to the AI of a retail shopping app or something like that, and you compare it to people's everyday experiences with Instagram or Netflix. And so I hate when I go on my daughter's profile on Netflix and I see all the movies and TV shows that she's watching, and I'm like, I don't want to watch any of these. I need mine over here. It's the same thing in shopping. Same thing with when you compare it to Instagram. I want to see all the stuff that's relevant to me. So why wouldn't that same thing be true in your shopping feed or on your retailer app that you use on a daily basis? I have a grizzly mini golden doodle. Don't show me ads and promotions for a cat. Things like that. So show me things that I'm going to be interested in. And the biggest thing that you need to do is you need to drive engagement. So that's the first thing. Get people in the top of the funnel. And then if I can show attribution and incrementality at the individual shopper level, that's really the key to helping establish credibility with the C-level folks who are giving you the marketing dollars, who are building this, but also the CPG brands who are also providing supplier funding as you do that. They're typically getting supplier funding for branding and for eyeballs. And now you're telling them, hey, I'm going to get you eyeballs, but I'm also going to get you increased sales and I can prove it. So it's a huge difference between what we're doing at Eagle Eye with personalized promotions and challenges and with our entire AI personalization engine is providing that attribution that people have been seeking for a really, really long time in commerce.
Now, I was curious about this. So, when promotions are truly personalized at the individual level, how does that change the way shoppers engage, and how does it help retailers deliver value at the right moment?
When you think of personalized promotions, they align incentives with a customer's actual purchase patterns, preferences, and engagement behavior. So you want to line up my behavior for me specifically as I walk into a store or as I'm online or I'm on my mobile device and match that with the incentives that you're putting in front of them. So for instance, if my family buys, 2 liters of Coke each month, and I don't want to pay promotional dollars to get me to buy the same 2 liters of Coke. I'm going to try and do some incentive or a continuity type of program to get me to buy it maybe one or two more. So I can create that incrementality based upon something that I want. The other thing is looking at with AI using the common term twins or twinning is I can look at another customer and if I match kind of their buying behaviors, we don't have the same exact shopping list, but we can look at my propensity to buy something else. So again, I'm not going to buy cat food because I have that grizzly golden doodle, but I might buy something else that's kind of complementary that I may not have thought of based upon someone else's profile. So if you look at that, the Boston Consulting Group estimates that enterprise retailers can generate over $100 million of top line impact from scaling the execution of personalized offers. That's because it's relevant, right? So when you talk about mass is great for eyeballs and you're going to get some people, but you're going to get a lot of people that are buying the same things that they're already buying or showing them stuff that they're not interested in. And again, it kind of goes back to, what everyone can relate to, which is I don't want to see someone else's Instagram feed. I want to see what's relevant to me on my Instagram feed. That's why I keep scrolling. And that's why I keep buying stuff and it shows up on my house the next day. So they get you, but they get you because it's a good customer experience and because it's relevant to what you want to see.
Well, that makes perfect sense. Now that we've known about how the combination of AI along with, studying consumer behavior can be so massive. I mean, let's put the crystal ball out here and understand. I mean, what's your opinion about how this will change about 5 to 10 years later? Because AI is kind of booming right now, right? But let's say 5 years, 10 years down the line, what's your prediction about how personalization would be and how much of an impact would be created?
Yeah, it's tough when you use the term AI and agentic commerce and all of these terms. You're really not talking 5 to 10 years. You're talking maybe 5 to 10 months because things are changing so quickly. We have an AI data science team that's based in Paris, and they're absolute geniuses. And things are changing so fast. Literally on a weekly basis, we're getting new updates on how the technology is evolving and changing. That not only goes for our AI personalization engine and how we're helping retailers market better and drive that incrementality that I was talking about earlier, but also just being a more efficient business, which I think everyone is interested in doing. I know technology, but I'm not an AI data scientist and I'm not a technology whiz. But how can I use AI to make my life easier and be better at my job? And I think that's a big part of what people are looking at it for. And that is literally changing on a weekly basis. If you look at what Claude Cowork and some of these other LLMs are doing. It's making everyone's job more efficient. I'm able to be more strategic. And that's just in my daily job. Our data scientists in Paris and elsewhere are moving even much faster than that. So I didn't answer your question exactly, but I don't think it's so hard to tell because it's moving so fast. But I do think that creating that singular experience of me going into a store, being on my mobile device, being on a website, and creating a very singular experience has to be what we're doing today. And frankly, it has to continue to get better and where we're going, because you don't want to have a different experience depending on what medium I'm using. And that's what I would call unified commerce. And getting to a true unified commerce is going to help all of that.
Well, I think it's a fair point when you said that it's not an easy answer, or there's no easy way to answer this question. So totally, I believe it's a fair point. And I guess those were some wonderful insights out there, Jeff. Thank you so much for those wonderful insights. Hosting in our podcast Tuesdays with Trailblazers. And thank you all for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review. Until next time, stay tuned with TechAI for more insights. Till we meet again, signing off, your host, Sidesh.